think everything is just heightened, right? The anxiety, they're also feeding off us. There's a lot of anxiety that we adults are feeling. There's a lot of stress that we're feeling. It's a very, very uncertain time. It's very groundless. So we don't know what's happening next and how to stay safe. And there's the physical part of this, but there's also the uncertainty of everything. So the feelings that have been reported in schools, at least, have been loneliness. They have been anxiety. They have been depression. I mean, the highest amount of youth suicide, even, and just really, really massive emotions. And also really young kids are feeling these big feelings. I know as a parent myself, my own kids also felt really big feelings toward these, this very uncertain time.
What's scary about that is, as adults, we often don't know how to process our own emotions. So how do we help children process these emotions?
Well, I think there's a lot of really unhealthy dialogue. It's very disempowering, or it's really complicated for people to understand their emotions. So we go into schools and we workshop this, and I think it's actually just as relevant. It's even stronger when at home the same message can be heard, which is that at the end of the day, your emotions are just messengers. There's no good or bad emotions. They live inside us all the time, but they don't control us, and we don't control them. And so what we teach is that emotions are messengers, and they've got one job to do, and that is to deliver their message, and they take it really seriously. So if we don't hear their message, or if we ignore them somehow, they just get bigger and bigger and louder, or start to bring more and more friends or physicalize in our bodies. So it's really important to listen to our messages, and often they can be really difficult because you're never being visited by one emotion alone, right? So you're being visited by groups of emotions. And rather than just saying, I'm so angry or I'm so frustrated, to start to go beyond that loudest emotion and see what else is going on there for you. And then those messages will start to come through. And then once those messages have been delivered, they're actually, they'll go away, they'll subside because they've served their purpose. So the messages also are either in alarms or rewards. That's the other big differentiation. So there's no such thing as a bad emotion. It's not bad to feel angry. It can be a wonderful motivator. What's bad is our actions when we feel that anger. So if you kick someone, obviously, not a good action. That's a bad action. But if you're just feeling the emotion and then deciding how to deal with that, then that's not a bad emotion. That's just an alarm telling you to protect something or to change something.
As you mentioned, there is so much uncertainty right now, and we as adults, we may not have all the answers that kids are looking for. Is there a way to answer those questions even without the answers, or help subside some of that fear or that anxiety?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's sort of embracing the unknown a little bit, because life actually is unknown. I know we're programmed to recognize patterns, and that's how our brains work. And so it's makes us feel better when we can recognize a pattern and try and predict what's going to happen. But the actuality is that, like, we don't know what's going to happen in the next hour or a week or a month. We can predict it, but it's not necessarily what is going to happen. So there's always uncertainty. And the fear that comes with that, in part, is it can be due to people mixing up the emotion with the thought. So the thoughts, the stories that are running through our head are just fairy tales. They're just predictors of patterns that we've seen. And so the uncertainty, it's okay to embrace it. And when a child says, "Mom, is it going to be all right?" just to say, I don't know, but I'm here with you, and we're going to figure it out together. And I think from a life skills perspective, you're helping kids work through it.